And hello everyone and welcome. I hope you can hear me. I forgot my headphones in the car, so I have to do it without that. So I'm just shouting in my camera. And welcome everyone. Okay, I hope you can still hear and see me also in the coming time. And welcome everyone. I see already. Hi Susan, welcome Trisha, hi Catherine, hi Tish. Hi Paula, of course. Oh, do you have more? Hi Beth. Welcome Mark. And a lot of other people. You can see and hear me. Oh, I don't think you can see me. You can just see some beautiful petunias. And welcome Julie. And yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful evening. You can see that. The flowers, the sun at the back, a tower, and a medieval city. What do you want more? On a, what is it? Is it a Wednesday? I sometimes forget the time. And of course, welcome everyone. We're gonna start in about 12 minutes from now. So, thank you, it's a Wednesday. Okay. You may be wondering, why don't you know the days of the week? That's basically because in this time of the year, in the season that tourists are in Amsterdam, where I normally are, then I'm working also in the weekends. So sometimes I lost track of what day it is. And yes, Sharon, it is really beautiful over here. Just gonna show you a little from nearby. Look how beautiful these petunias are. And welcome Ronnie too. Welcome in Bruges, that's where we are. Although you would not see that based on these flowers. But if I'm showing you this, then you can maybe recognize it a little. But there are lots more, lots more. And hi Andrew. There are a lot more flowers on all the sides. Look at this. They placed on the bridge flowers, more flowers, just to have a beautiful view. And even in the water over there, there's some more flowers based on little ships. And these little ships, by the way, are from the Triennale. Every 3 years there is a art exhibition all over Bruges. This year again, and one of the artists placed these little boats here in the water. But we still, I think about 9 minutes from now, we will officially start this tour. So just for now, just enjoying the beautiful flowers and the beautiful view. I'm not gonna tell you a lot yet before we officially start the tour. People are doing photo shoots here next to me, so maybe if you're hearing other voices, that's not me. Hi! But in the meantime, also look at this. Flowers and a medieval tower, all just together. And I'm forgetting almost, also the sunset. The sun is just going down. It is a little later, it's 8 p.m. almost. Sunset will be in about an hour, a little over an hour from now. So it's the last part of the day on a beautiful summer day in Belgium, where I am right now. And yeah, the petunias are stunning for sure. And if you always hear other voices, yeah, that can be. In this situation, it's just from other people nearby. Has nothing to do with voices in your head, Tish. Look how beautiful the petunias are. So, and also, I would love that you could taste or that you could smell what I'm smelling right now, because they're quite flowery, a little sweet, but it's really beautiful to have that over here. And hi Linda, welcome Anna. Hi Candy, also welcome. And of course welcome Natalie, I think I didn't say that yet. By the way, it's not only petunias, there are also some geraniums next to it. So look at over here. Wow. Oh, and it's so, the smell is amazing when you would be here. And it's just the whole bridge over here. By the way, on two sides, I can also show you that a little. You can see I'm not the only one on this bridge, but on both sides there are flowers hanging to make it a little more beautiful. The whole year around there are several flowers, and now it's the petunia and the geranium. It's good, by the way, that we're a little later on the day, because earlier on the day it was crazy busy over here. Although I was not that early, because I'm staying in the neighboring town of Ghent, not in Bruges this time, because in Ghent there is an amazing festival called the Gentse Feesten, the Ghent parties, 10 days long every year in July. And that means street art, that means music, that means all kind of things, and just on the street. So it's really an amazing festival that I have been there when I was studying, so that's a long time ago, and for the first time I've been back, and that's amazing to be there. So I'm just going around. You see more people are taking pictures, and if you want a nice postcards, then this is the place to be, of course. Wow. Welcome in beautiful Bruges on a summer evening. I'm walking here within a t-shirt, so it is one of these days that is possible. It doesn't happen too much, to be honest. And also look at the reflection. Also the reflection is amazing. And yeah, the petunias are really beautiful, isn't it? Just trying to show you a little more nearby. So if you're hearing more voices again, it's other people here on the same bridge that I'm going over. And yeah, I'm one part of Bruges. I'm starting at the exit of the city, basically. And Julie, yes, these bows are filled with flowers and with herbs. Flowers and herbs, and it is standing for, or it's related to, the history of Bruges. And the history, there's a lot of history in trading. And most of the trade in these times, talking about the last part of the Middle Ages, between 900 and let's say 1600, a lot of the trade was always going with ships, bigger ships, smaller ships. So an artist this year placed these black ships here in the water, filled with all kind of with all kind of flowers. But one of the plants that's in there is from the what we call the paradise seed. The paradise seed from Guinea, and so it's called the paradise boats because of that. But it's beautiful that they placed that over here in the water. And I said already, that's because of the Triennale. The Triennale is every 3 years there is there's an art festival in the city of Bruges, and at this moment it is there. And hi Mitzi, welcome. And this year there is the Triennale, and that's why we can see on several locations some art. We maybe see one or two more in this tour, I don't know yet exactly yet. And why am I saying I don't know? Because I never know where I'm going. I've now been so many times in Bruges that when I came here and I didn't have that much time to prepare, but I saw so many things and I was thinking, oh, I want to take you there, I want to take you there, I want to take you there. So, and the stories are coming automatically back. And welcome Sarah too. I don't know if I did say that already, but otherwise I'm saying it again. Just, I think in 3 minutes from now, and welcome Colleen, in 3 minutes from now we will officially start this tour. And there's some more. Look at this. Wow. How beautiful. All these flowers are everywhere. I'm also just gonna give you a shot from the bridge where we're just standing on. So over here we have, beautiful in the reflection by the way, the little castle on the Minnewater. And then if we are looking back, let's go a little to the top. You can see the medieval bridge. The medieval bridge over there, over the water, with all the flowers on top. It's magic. It's even more magical because it is now a little later on the day. So that means there are a lot less tourists than earlier in the day. So when I came here, it was somewhere in the afternoon. There were still a lot of people. And I think I'm hearing now church bells. I think it's 8 times. No, it was not 8 times. But I think it's almost 8 p.m. So it's almost officially time to start this tour. Look how beautiful this is. Are we live? Yes, Cheryl, we are. We are live for sure. So, otherwise, I would not react to you. So, just let's go over the fence a little to see these beautiful yellow flowers. And then at the back part, we have the castle of the Minnewater. And I think it's time now to start the tour. So I'm just gonna change the screen so you see my face for a moment. Welcome everyone, welcome in Bruges, Belgium. My name is Stefan. I'm gonna do a tour here in the coming, let's say 45 minutes through the city. And to be honest, I haven't been here for a long time now. So I think the last time was at least more than half a year ago. So some of the stories are a little less vivid in my head anymore, but at least it is a beautiful beautiful evening. It's summertime, so I want to take you around and just gonna show you some of the beautiful parts of Bruges, because it is beautiful. And yes, Natalie, we are at this moment at the Minnewater, and Minne is coming from the Dutch word, because in this part of the country of Belgium they're also speaking Dutch, so it's the same language as I'm speaking, or my native language. And Minne is coming from the word beminnen, and beminnen means that you are loving someone. Doesn't have to be a love from both sides, but it means that you are loving someone with all your heart. And why is this location over here called the Minnewater? For that we have to go back long time in history. Long time back in history, there were 2 people, of course, a boy and a girl, and they really loved each other. And they had plans, and they were talking to each other, and they had plans to marry. But the interesting thing is, and in that times it was more normal, that mainly the dad of the boy, he was saying like, no, I don't want my boy to marry with you. So the girl, of course, she was very sad about that. And the boy at the same time, he had to go to war. And at that moment when he had to go to war, she was feeling so lonely that she was going to get around over here. She was getting lost from Bruges. She was getting lost in the woods nearby. And then after some months, her boyfriend, where she was not allowed to marry with, he came back over here and he asked around about where is she, and he couldn't find her at first. So he started wandering around, he started searching for her, and then after days and days, somewhere in the middle of the woods, he found her. He found her at the moment that, and she was still crying, but he found her at the moment that she was literally doing her last breath. So she died in his arms, but the story goes, the myth goes, that since that time, on the place where she died, based on all the tears that she had, that this beautiful lake over here, the Minnewater, was formed. So a beautiful myth to show you this, one of the most beautiful parts of Bruges. So in the meantime, I said already, I think my name is Stefan. I'm just gonna take you around because it is a beautiful evening, and not even all her tears, but look at that, even the trees here at the side, they're still a little sad. So we have this beautiful, what we call in Dutch een treurwilg, or in English the weeping willow, just at the side, because even the trees over here, they're still sad about what happened here long time ago. So, and yes, today I'm gonna take you to Bruges, and Bruges is a quite famous city in Belgium. Quite famous nowadays because it is a really medieval place. And I'm gonna take you through some parts that are really related to that medieval history. So, but not only that, it's also a quite green and beautiful city with a lot of flowers, as you can see. Even more at locations like over here, next to the Minnewater. So, and yeah, a long history. So the first people lived here already during Roman times, but from that time there's not a lot that's known. But it's good to know that the city of Bruges is very nearby the sea. Not so far away from here is the North Sea. And the city of Bruges nowadays is forming the connection from the higher sandy lands, a little higher up, and at the other side, the North Sea. And so the first settlements were already over here, but for the first time that people were describing the city, that was around the year 900. So about, what is it, 1150 years ago was the first time that people were describing something that was related to what we now know as Bruges. And Bruges, by the way, in Old Germanic means not what sometimes people are thinking, because the Dutch word is it's almost like bridge, but it is related to the Old Germanic word of mooring. A mooring was over here on this location. So, but of course, in the year 900, it was just a very small settlement, not very big yet. So, and what happened is one of the first things that was built over here, that was a little fortification. A fortification to protect the land, to protect the people that were living over here, against the Vikings. Because in the same time, that was the time that the Vikings were going with their ships all over northwestern Europe, not only to Belgium, but also to other locations. And when they wanted to capture something, they were really good fighters, and then they captured things. So to protect the local population against the Vikings, there was a first fortification that was built over here, and that's what the first time was called as the city of Bruges, or what now is the city of Bruges. And I'm just giving you a little the feeling of how it looks over here. Look how beautiful the reflection is over here, together with the little castle. By the way, this castle is a lot newer than the rest of Bruges, but the location is of course beautiful. And people that are just joining, of course, welcome. I'm not gonna do a lot of social talk anymore because I'm already in the tour. But of course you can join me. And then over here at the other side we have this little building, and you can see that the building is built completely in the water. It's standing in the water, it's going over the water. And I was showing you the Minnewater, and the Minnewater is basically the lake in the river that is floating through Bruges. And this over here, this house over here on the side, that is the house that was controlling the water. Controlling the water to make sure that the city was not overflowing. So under here, it's like the sluices were over here to get inside the city. So I'm just going to the other side. You can see I'm not the only one. I mean, Bruges, it is now a lot calmer than it was before, but Bruges is quite a touristy city. And you can completely imagine that if you look around and have that medieval feeling as what I'm showing you over here. And here at the other side we have some more water. We see a lot of animals, swans. I will come back to that later. That's for later in the tour. But first, before it's closing, I want to take you to something that is, I think, very typical for the Netherlands and Belgium in the medieval times. Because I'm going to take you onto this area over here. We're going through this gate. And this gate is the entrance to what we call a Beguinage. And if you've done more tours with me, then you know that I've been talking about this before. But in short, what was a Beguinage? If we go back to the 13th, 14th, 15th century, what happened in cities like Bruges is there were, of course, a lot of people living over here. Men, women, a lot of people. But what happened is that some of the women who were living over here, they were thinking, okay, the norm in that time, the Catholic norm in that time is that men and women had to live together. But these women, for different reasons, they had different reasons, but they were deciding, okay, I don't want to live together with a husband. I don't want to live together with a man. But that was not done by these times. You could not just say yourself, okay, I don't want to live with a man anymore, because the Catholic tradition was that you were, as a young girl, that you had to find a man and that you had to marry and everything. So, but that was not allowed in these times. So what some of these women were doing, and I think that's maybe the start, or that's how I'm seeing it, maybe the start of feminism. And I'm talking now about the 13th, 14th century. In the 13th, 14th century, some of these women decided, okay, we don't want to live with men anymore, so we're gonna do it ourselves. So they were forming a community of women only, bought a piece of land, or made sure that they had a piece of land, and they were starting to build their own houses, their own locations, to make sure that they were not relying on men anymore. And where I'm now, right now, the Beguinage, the princely Beguinage of the vineyard, that's how it's officially called, in Bruges, is one of the most beautiful examples of a Beguinage. So nowadays, it is now, 700 years later, there are still about 80 women that are living over here. Nowadays, by the way, they can marry. It's not that strict anymore. But in the old times, it was basically only women who did not want to marry. And they were staying over here outside of the city of Bruges by that time. They had their own piece of land. They were building their own houses. And I'm now here in the big courtyard. And as you can see, there's a beautiful courtyard in the middle. It's even more beautiful with the sun going down. And what were they doing over here in the middle part? They were growing their own vegetables. They had their own cattle even. So to make sure that they were they did not have to rely on the city of Bruges. So basically, women only. So, and Walpurgi, yes, they were Catholics, and they are still are. And I think at the end of the street you can see, I don't want to come too much nearby, but you can see two of them. They're still looking a little like nuns, but to be honest, they are not nuns. So it was not the inspiration or the reason to do this was not religious, but it was more that in these times people were Catholic, so they didn't have a choice about that, but they could have a choice to start living on their own. And yes, Sarah, they were very strong women that time, that they could choose to say like, okay, we're not gonna live together with men. So it is a unique thing, and to be honest, this is one of the biggest beguinages that you can find, but you can find them all over, in several Dutch and Belgium cities. So also, for example, in the city of Amsterdam, we have Beguinage. That one is not as big as this one, but basically with the same reason. So the word was going around of these strong women that were deciding, okay, we want to live on our own. We're not gonna live with a man anymore. So, and I think it's a beautiful thing that now, hundreds of years later, that still the same philosophy is over here. So, okay, yeah, the women over here now can maybe have even a family, but still there are no men living over here. And that I can go around over here is also quite unique, because I'm only allowed to go here until 9:30 in the evening. 8:30 in the evening. So in about, 30 minutes from now or almost now, they're gonna close down everything, and then it is a private property again. And just give you a little idea. And Walpurgi is saying that Finland was the first country in the world to allow women to vote. Yeah, that's true, but that is a lot later than these women who were deciding to live on their own. And look how beautiful this is. This is one of their private courtyards, private places with these beautiful flowers again. And yes, Gerald, they were called Beguines. So if you want to know a little more about the Beguines and the Beguinages, then you can easily find it. And they even had a little place. Of course, they were Catholic, so they could still go and to pray in this little chapel on the side. And yes, it is very relaxed and calm over here. Although you may be hearing it, there is some music. There's some kind of little festival somewhere else. Wow. But it is still, for me, always unique to come over here, because it really feels that you are back hundreds of years. And even more if you see the women that are still living over here, it is they're looking a little like nuns. So because they are, okay, the reason was not religion, but they're still quite Catholic. And that's also why here on the side there is a small chapel, or a bigger chapel, or a little church on the side. So it is beautiful that they did that. So, and James is asking, were these women from upper class, or did the serfs and poorest also live there? Yeah, that's of course, with all these kind of things, most of them were the ones a little more from the upper class, so that had the choice to start a new life themselves. So and yeah, Cheryl, but the interesting thing is that even nowadays in this Beguinage, but not only here, also in other locations in the Netherlands and Belgium, you still have Beguines, you still have these courtyards. Sometimes they are a little different now, but most of them still only have women living over there. So I'm now just going outside, by the way, just to give you an idea. This is the 18th century entrance. So we had the other entrance This is the second entrance into, or the official, this is the main entrance by the way. But it's quite beautiful, isn't it? Wow. And even more now when the sun is going down. So at the end of the day, it's even more magical. And one of the things, by the way, that I found out is you have these poles here in the street. And you can maybe see the pole here in the middle of the street that looks a little different because this is literally a grave. So they used a piece of the graveyard, one of the stones, to place here in the middle of the street to make sure that cars cannot go over the bridge. So how can you use some medieval parts? So and Cheryl, yes, you are right. Beguines had other vows that they did, but not like nuns. That's true. And then over here on the side we have still the beautiful buildings, and in the middle you can see that there are lots and lots of swans. Lots of swans, and to be honest, there are about 80 different swans here in the city of Bruges, and there's a beautiful story about that. Well, in the meantime, we of course also have horses and carriages. So beautiful horses here on the side. But let's get a little more. Oh, it's also smelling like horse poop over here. Let's get a little more nearby the horses. So to give you an idea, I'm not the only one standing over here. A lot of people are taking pictures. As you can maybe imagine, we're not allowed to feed the animals. So I can go down. And a little more nearby while we have the site of the Beguinage on the side, and in front of us all these swans. And as you can see, there are lots and lots of them. And for that we have to go back to the 15th century, because what happened in the 15th century, there was a guy named Maximilian from Austria, and he was very powerful because he was from Austria, and he basically had the power over the half of Europe, maybe even more than half of Europe. So not only Austria, but also Belgium and the Netherlands and big parts of Germany and France, they were all under the power of Maximilian. So, and by that time, you have to imagine that by that time, the city of Bruges was one of the most powerful and rich cities that you could find in Europe. So basically, in southern Europe, the most rich place was the city of Venice. Now, I don't have to tell anything about Venice. That was the main trade town. And in the northern part of Europe, the main trade town was not Paris, not London. No, that was Bruges. Bruges was by that time the most powerful city. So you can imagine that Maximilian, as the powerful ruler, he was coming here now and then, and what he did is, of course, what all these rulers wanted. He wanted money from the people of Bruges. But the thing is that in Bruges, that the people of Bruges, they didn't want, because they were powerful, they were rich, they just didn't want to give all their money to taxes for this Maximilian to just fund all his wars. So when he came over here, they really said, no, we're not gonna do that. And then Maximilian said, okay, then I will send my army. And then what the people of Bruges were doing, like, okay, what we will do is we will get you and also the people that are in charge for you in this city, where you're locking you up. We're locking you up inside the prison. So both Maximilian, together with a guy named John Langhals. John Langhals, he was, by the way, just a local. He was the mayor by that time. Both of them were locked up in the prison of Bruges. And what they did is to scare Maximilian. They were saying, like, okay, we're gonna do something with Mr. Langhals. So when he was sitting in a cell that was next to one of the main squares, he could hear that Langhals was brought over there and that they were torturing him. But not only torturing, in the end, they were hanging him on the main square. They were hanging him on the main square to make sure that Maximilian, and by the way, the restaurant over here is named after this guy too, Maximilian von Oostenrijk, from Austria. Just to scare him, they were hanging his friend and also the mayor of Bruges by that time, Mr. Jan Langhals. And when Maximilian heard that, of course, he said like, okay, I have to tone down a little. But he was furious. He was furious. But because he wanted to make sure that he wouldn't be the next one to be hanged. So he said like, okay, I will lower the taxes for everyone in Bruges. But at the same time, he was cursing the people of Bruges. And how was that cursed? He was saying like, from now on, the city of Bruges will have to take care of all the Langhalsen that there will be in the area, in the neighborhood. And the Dutch word Langhals, that means long neck. So John Long Neck, that was the man who was killed. And yeah, what is an animal with a long neck? That is the swan. So basically, he said to the people of Bruges, you have to take care of all the long necks of all the swans for the rest of time, and if not, you will be cursed. And since that time, the city of Bruges is taking care of their swans, and they're taking that very seriously. Even in the local government, working for the local government, there's someone who is just taking care of the swans to make sure that they have enough food, that they have places to breed, that to make sure that they're getting new little swans every year, to make sure that there will always be more than 82 swans in the city of Bruges. So, and Joanne Longneck is of course also a figure in the Efteling. You're completely right, but that is another story. That is another story. So, just a little background so you know if you're coming to the city of Bruges one day, then you know why there are swans everywhere. And the location where we just were on the Minnewater, that has the biggest concentration of swans, but you can basically find them everywhere on the river and on the canals. And when I'm talking about the river, that was also the main reason why this city over here became so powerful. The river that we're calling the Reije, and the city of Bruges is not so far away from the sea, so it became a main town for trade, and that's why so many rich people, so many merchants came over here to trade, to make money and everything. So, okay, I'm just going to the other side. You maybe sometimes hear some music, or you hear a horse just coming, just passing us. It is beautiful, isn't it? I'm just gonna wait a moment before I'm going to go to the other side. A horse and carriage, and of course the locals are going on their bicycles, as you can see. So, okay, in the meantime, I'm just going over this little square where you have some beautiful houses that are also related to trade. And how can I see, or how do I know? It's quite easy, because if I'm zooming in over here, you can see that there is a big gable stone, and you can see a little boat with a man, and you can maybe see what he has in his boat and what he wants to get on the side. And that's one of the things where Bruges became very famous for. So it became famous, by the way, for different things. But one of the things was shown on that little picture. So what did that man, I don't know if you could see it well, what did that man have on his boat? What was he trading? Well, I'm going through this narrow street in the meantime. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, just going to the side. It's beautiful. By the way, this is on the left side is part of the Jewish synagogue, the Synagogue. And Joanne is saying wool. Yeah, it is related to that. You're quite right. You're quite right, because the city of Bruges became very famous for the cloth. The cloth, and nowadays also for the lace. Cloth and lace, that were the things where people from literally half of Europe were coming over here to get. So that was one of the main things. Next to that, by the way, and you can still find that over here, Bruges was also quite big in beer. And that's also one of the things that you can still find. And nowadays, by the way, something else is added to one of the things that you have to do, or at least try when you are over here in Bruges, is to try some of the chocolate. Because it's also one of the places in Belgium where you have so many places where you can get really high-end, high-quality chocolate. Like, for example, over here in this place called Chocolate de Bruges. So just look at this. Oh, and Renate, that's really nice to hear that you went for 4 days to Bruges. So look at this. They even have chocolate pencils over there. And then something else, you may be thinking chocolate is always for women. So look, we have Miffy for sure, but we also even have some women's shoes and even a purse and everything. And then, yeah, as a man, why do you want to have? Oh, there's even more. Look at this. There are a lot of shoes over here, and their shoes are so high heels, so you have more chocolate. That's really smart. But also for men, they have something. Look at this. So if you want to do some construction work, then you can. I mean, if you need to do some for your car or for your horse, or even open your beer, look at that. All these things are over there to help you. There are even locks, all made of chocolate. So, wow. Just some inspiration. Okay. Just going to show you a little more. While we're looking over here, by the way, at the church. That's the church of our beloved lady. And the tower, that's one of the highest towers that you can find in this part of Belgium. And then here at the left side, we have the side of the hospital. This over here, when we have some beautiful flowers. St. Jan's Hospital. So one of the biggest hospitals that you could find in medieval times. So still in a very good state. A beautiful hospital. And while Puri is saying that chocolate is something for Switzerland, yeah, not only. I think the Belgian people will say that the Belgian chocolate is better than the Swiss. And of course the Swiss will not agree to that. So it depends a little which one you prefer. But the chocolate trade and also the chocolate itself, by the way of making chocolate is from this area. So, okay, in the meantime, I'm just gonna show you a little more the tower of our beloved lady. And there is a little courtyard here on the side. Really a nice courtyard, but I wanna go a little around this place because there is more to see. By the way, the old entrance, nowadays the St. John's is not a hospital anymore. It's now just a museum where you can see how the old hospital used to be. They have an old pharmacy, for example, and that's all when you go inside through this little tunnel. Just going to this side of the road so I can show you a little more the front part of the medieval looking. No, it's not only medieval looking, it is a medieval design of the front of the church. So this is the what we call Romanesque design of a church. So that was the original way of how Catholic churches were built. Later on we had the Gothical style, but we started with the Romanesque style, and that's this. That's the one over here. And then there, at the other side, by the way, if we're looking to the left, we see another church, and that church is, by the way, has a Gothical design. You can see it on the windows, for example. Okay, but let's go here to the side. And which one is the best? I don't know that. I just love chocolate. I love chocolate from Switzerland and also from Belgium. So, I mean, I would love to take you again to Switzerland one day. You never know. Maybe soon. Okay, I just want to go here to the right side. And here we have one of the other museums, by the way. You can see the Groothuizen Museum, and that is the big building that we see over here at the in your middle. And the Groothuizen Museum was originally just a house. It was a house from a family that became very, very rich with trading groot. Groot. And you may be wondering, what is groot? Now, I can tell you, if you love beer, then you love hops. And why do you love hops? Because hops is where beers are made of. Nowadays, beers are made of. But that was a little different in medieval times. In medieval times, we didn't find the hops yet. That's literally from the end of medieval times. Before that time, we were using something else. And that something else is a combination of different herbs, and that combination is called groot. And the guy who was living over here, or the family was living over here, they had the monopoly of the groot trade in half of Europe. So they were extremely rich. And what in these times were you doing when you were extremely rich? Now, what they were doing is they were building their house next to the church. So here at the right side, we see the church. At the left side, we see their house. And what do we see in the middle? There is a little, there's a little tunnel. And above the tunnel, we have a way where the palace, or the big house, the villa of the family Groothuis was directly connected to the church. So that was one of the things in the end of medieval times, is that when you were living very nearby God, and the church, that was God, of course, and when you had a direct entrance, that meant at least that you would go to heaven. So, and James is asking, can one buy this medieval beer today? That's a good question. The interesting thing is that just since last week, I'm starting a new tour in Amsterdam, and that is a craft beer tour. So that's not here in Belgium, that's in Amsterdam. And one of the things that we're gonna try, because there is still one brand in the Netherlands that's making beer based on the same combination of herbs. But there's just one brand. All the other brands are using hops. Just one is left. So I never tasted it myself, but I'm looking forward to do it. So, but most probably it will taste completely different. Also with groot, if you're using that for your beers, the alcohol percentage will be a lot less. So not like 5 to 11%. What you have with hops is more like 2 to 3% max. In the meantime, we're just going under the bridge, that direct connection, and then going to the back part of the church. And what happened always at the back of churches, you always had the graveyards. And the graveyard is over here, although nowadays they removed all the tombs, they removed the stones from the graveyard, so there's now just a little beautiful garden at the side. And look at this. There's even some mushrooms. Wow. I didn't expect this to be. Look at the site. And no, it's not Heineken or Amstel, by the way. But look at these beautiful mushrooms on the side of this tree. And I never know the name in English from this, but I know the name how we call this in Dutch. And we call this in Dutch, yeah, and they are real. They call this in Dutch elfenbankjes. That means the benches of the elves. So not a nice platform for squirrels. No, this is a bench for the elves. They can just have a rest over here just for a moment before they fly further. I don't know the name in English, but in Dutch we say elf benches. Okay, I'm just going to show you on the side over here. Look at this. How beautiful is this? We see here at the other side some really medieval houses, and to be honest, these houses over here are still in use. So people are still living over there. Yeah, and Mitzi, I had some Straffe Hendrik before, so maybe some of my stories are a little more beautiful than they used to be. I had some Straffe Hendrik already. Because that is one of the local beers. Yeah, you're right. Just one. And by the way, the other one is the Brugse Zot. The jerker from Bruges. And that's the other famous one. And then look over here. In the middle part, there is this small bridge called the Bonifacius Bridge. That's connecting this part of town just to the other side. And the interesting thing is that this bridge over here is looking like it is as old as the buildings around. As old as the palace from Groothuizen, from the Groot family. As old as the house at the other side. But to be honest, it is it's a lot newer. Because this bridge over here is only built at the start of the 20th century, in 1911 to be precise. So, but they did it in the same style, and they used all kind of the same types of stones. But the interesting thing is, they partly used the graveyard over here. And how do I know that? Well, look for example at this stone here on the side. Part of a graveyard, but there's more. There's more. If I'm walking here over the bridge, look at the side. You can see over here, there's a name. This is another gravestone that they used for the side of the bridge. And also at the other side, you can see it again. I should have brought water, then you can see it better. But for example, over here, you can maybe just see Dominicius. So you can see over here that there's still some other gravestones that were used to build this beautiful bridge just over the water. So very functional, these people over here. And yeah, it is a really beautiful spot. I'm also just going to show you the other side. Oh, sorry. Just going to show you the other side too. Look how beautiful. Sorry, I just had to go to the other side because there was a little a rude guy just pushing me away. So, welcome in the world of guiding. Okay, just going on. I don't want to get into a fight with all of you. That's the type of behavior that I'm hating myself when I'm with a group of people that you're pushing other people away. But yeah, sometimes you have guides that are doing that. Okay. In the meantime, maybe you can hear all the church bells are chiming. It's really beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna do... Oh! There's a little dog attacking me now. No, not attacking me. Now I'm just gonna show you a little last part of Bruges. So, just to get that feeling of the city. I mean, there is so much more to tell and to see, so I cannot do everything, but at least to give you an idea how this city is looking. And another... Oh, it's good that you can hear the bells because they're going on. And it's, by the way, the bells of the Belfry Tower that we can see over there. So, and then here at the side we see the water, and this is still the river. And you may be wondering, like, okay, a river, but I don't see any current. And that's the interesting thing, is because there's hardly any current in this river anymore. And that's also the reason why the city of Bruges was failing in the end. In the 16th century, part 15th, start of the 16th century, Bruges was the place to be in Europe. But what happened during the 16th century, the river was getting less and less deep, just of sediments that were placed on the side. So after a while, ships could not enter the city of Bruges anymore, could not enter the harbor of Bruges anymore. So somewhere at the start of the 16th century, most of the traders decided to leave Bruges, to go somewhere else and to start trading there. So from the city of Bruges, a lot of these traders made their way a little to the east, to the northeast, to another city that we now know as the city of Antwerp. And in the 16th century, Antwerp became that rich trading city that Bruges was the 100 years before. So, and then for hundreds of years, hardly anything happened in this city. Nothing happened until at the start of the 20th century, there was an English guy, and he was traveling Europe, and he wrote a book. He wrote a book about Bruges, like mainly a tourist guide about Bruges. And that tourist guide became so popular under people that the revival of Bruges came with tourism. And that's where we are right now, hundreds of years later. So there's not a lot of trade anymore. Yes, of course, you can get some chocolate, you can get some beer, you can get some lace, but mainly that is for tourism purposes. But outside of the high season of tourism, this city is extremely calm. And without tourism, it would have been a lot poorer than it is right now. Because you can maybe imagine that maintaining all these historical buildings, that is quite expensive. It's really expensive. So nowadays tourism is helping by maintaining things like the Belfort Tower over there. So, and yeah, I see that several of you are talking about the little boats. There are little boats going through the city. You can see them laying over there. They're already stopping at around 8 p.m. So not really in the evening anymore. And to be honest, it is they really get as much people as possible on their boats. So it is sometimes, I think, about 50 people in total. And then they're going around for 35 minutes. So it's like a slow, just a short round. And it's not very luxury. It's very basic, but okay, it gives you the idea of the city. I'm just gonna end this tour over here at the place where everyone is coming for their Instagram posts, and you can maybe imagine why. Look at this. Welcome into medieval Bruges with a beautiful sunset. Well, we're looking over here at some medieval houses in front of us. The Belfry Tower that's in the middle part of Bruges. A beautiful bridge on the side. In front of us, one of the houses of the rich traders. Nowadays in use as a hotel. But it gives an idea of how rich and magnificent this city still is, even after hundreds of years, revived because of tourism, and I can really recommend to go here one day. And yes, take your time. Take your time because the architecture is wonderful. And if you're coming over here, by the way, not only go to Bruges, I would really recommend you to also go to the neighboring city that's about 30 minutes away of Ghent. And what Ghent is a little more, it's as medieval, but a little more vibrant than the city of Bruges. There's a university over there, and that's maybe something for another tour for another time. So I hope you enjoyed this tour. I'm just gonna show you my face for a moment. I'm just gonna show you my face, and I hope you enjoyed this tour. And yes, I have been here also with the light show because it's not the first time that I'm in Bruges. So if you enjoyed this tour, of course, feel free to give me a tip, because that's the only way how I can keep on doing these tours. So I was now here because I was in Ghent already for something else. So I thought like, okay, I just can go back and forth to Bruges to show you this beautiful city again. But for sure, I will be back here because it is and it stays magical. So I want to thank you for all your support. The links to, if you want to support me, are now in the chat. So I'm just going now for a Straffe Hendrik or a Brugse Zot, one of the beer brands. My last beer for today, because I still have to drive back, and otherwise it is too much. So I hope you enjoyed this time in magical Bruges. So see you another time. Bye bye and thank you.